We're live. It's Nahshon, your guest host for Impact Radio. Shout out to the Florida Star newspaper. Our special guest, we have Ms. Therese Gamble of the CRPC consulting firm. And on the line, Mr. Carlucci, are you on the line?
Yes, sir. I'm right here.
Awesome, awesome. We're so glad to have you, sir. And now I want to get my personal opinion out the way so that way if this is ever repeated, it's not what you said, it's what I said. Is that all right?
That's fine with me.
All right. If you're a tax-paying citizen and you're listening to this broadcast online or live, you have a right to have your voice be heard. You have a right to have your voice be heard. When it comes to our public schools and when it comes to our children, they deserve top grade facilities. In order for them to have a competitive education, they need a competitive learning environment. Our city is a democracy and not an autocracy. We cannot have a government that only goes off of the mayor's perspective. And basically right now, when it comes to our school board, we have a right. We have a right to decide whether or not we want our taxes to support the infrastructure that our babies attend on a daily basis. With that being said, I would like to introduce our City Council at-large Group 4 member, Mr. Matt Carlucci. Once again, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I was in the Finance Committee meeting at City Hall the day before yesterday, and you brought up a great perspective pertaining to our city's charter, and I would love for you to take a couple moments to elaborate on our charter pertaining to the tax referendum and putting 2019-380 on the ballot for November 2019.
Well, let me say this. I'm on my fourth term as a council member. I have a lot of institutional knowledge dating back to the 1968, and I can say I have never seen a situation even close to what is going on with the school board. Some request have a ballot question for the Duval County voters. Now, our charter and our ordinances are extremely clear. I haven't followed with any of the rules and finance committee. In the outline of our government, clearly defines the duties and roles that each body must take. That is, mayor's office, council of the council, and the school board, along with the other authorities, so on and so forth. There is not one place in the charter that has in the city council section the word school. So all the committee, we as council are tasked, obligated to do only one simple thing, and that's to allow the voters to decide if they are willing to vote yes or no on the house and sales tax, no more and no less. And aside from our constitutional and fiduciary duties, I personally believe we have a moral obligation to let the people be heard. I mean, let's do our job, that's what we should do our job, voter to vote. We had to make great history as to the Dewey bypass, and that was made a huge disappointment. I wasn't mad at my colleagues, I'm just passionate about this issue. And I just, every time any question gets answered, more questions come down the pipe. And we got Dr. Green, who is our first African-American, first woman superintendent, and she is strong, and she's taking her time to attend these committees, and nobody takes advantage of asking her to answer the very important questions that they have to keep coming up with. That is my colleague, who I greatly respect. My colleagues, they're smart people, smart council members. They're going to make the government deaf a little bit. I just think we're making a mistake by wasting the school board's time by having their administration and superintendent over and not being able to answer questions.
Yes, I concur on that. Another thing that I've discovered, and like I said, you may or may not be able to shed light on this, is that for the city of Jacksonville, we do not collect impact fees from new businesses, new construction sites, which mean constructed facilities or businesses, meaning that it's like a one-time fee or one-time tax to help with infrastructure, schools, ambulatory, and I just think that it's a common sense approach that when we need funding for our public schools pertaining to infrastructure, we actually have a bank to go to pull from, and I believe that's what the problem is. That's just a part of the problem, is that we don't have impact fees that are actually contributing to the enhancement of our public schools.
But the only problem with impact fees, and maybe impact fees will be a solution one time, but most impact fees are being collected in the areas where the schools are newer and don't have the maintenance issues, and impact fees can only be used in the areas in which they're collected. So the impact fees cannot be used for the older schools because those areas are not growing and collecting the impact fees. Now, if some of those older areas begin to grow, and like we hope that they will, then impact fees could be a great strategy. I'm not against impact fees, but I think right now, to really collect the money that's needed, is the sales tax. And Dr. Green comes from Manatee County, and they had a sales tax they did 18 years ago, and then they repeated it another time. So they repeat their sales tax about every 15 years, which really makes a lot of sense, because after 15 years, they have another need of either building new schools or updating and maintaining their schools. But the big thing that we need to remember is this money, besides upgrading, building new schools, particularly in the vulnerable areas, is they're going to make our schools safer. So there's a lot of people that have parents, grandparents, that have children going into school in the next year. They want those schools made safer.
Once again, I concur on that as well. All right, and at this time, we're going to take a quick break. Ms. Carlucci, are you okay with going into the next segment with us?
Sure, yeah.
All right, so stay tuned to all of our listeners, and they really do appreciate you, and I appreciate you as well. Once again, this is our break.
Now you know before the sun. Movie stores.
I got some real questions to ask him. If he's talking about them impact fees, then what's wrong with where the lottery money going?
All right, you can ask him that as well.
Yeah.
And he's very detailed in his approach.
Because I was listening to him, and he's very passionate. Because even working in Matthew Gilbert, you know, if the schools are not up to par, then how do we expect our children to be innovative with technology stuff if the school is not capable?
Yes.
Keep up with it.
Because, like I said, one of my good friends said that they went to D.C. to talk about smart cities and making Jacksonville a smart city.
Right.
But how can you make Jacksonville a smart city
Right.
if you got legendary, Stone Age, antiquated facilities?
Exactly. And then we don't even know if they're a historical site. If they are a historical site, the state of Florida have funding to help fix the schools. So why are our councilmen...
I'm sorry, we done got into a sidebar dialogue. Councilman, you still there? Yes. Ms. Gamble, you want to go ahead and ask your question to the councilman?
Hi, Councilman Carlucci. I was listening to your feedback, and I agree with Nahshon that you're very valuable and transparent. So I was thinking about the lottery funding from the lottery tickets that, you know, when it was first passed from the state, that it was supposed to go toward, you know, education and infrastructure. And why we're not using those funds to be able to help with the infrastructure of our schools, being a former substitute teacher. Yes, sir.
Now, when you look at all of the schools that are just today, Flowers, Hillsborough County, and you have in Duval, all seven schools, $3 plus money. I have $3, that's fine. 45 an hour. I have to run as well, but $3 is fine enough. I don't know how schools that we have in the city. I'm not even going to say. It does amount to as much what you were saying. Most of the money goes to sponsors. And the next amount goes to the administration of the road philosophy and marketing. And to the portion that goes to schools. And the schools have had those conversations with their budget for many, many years about how they do all these schools throughout all the county. But it's just, a lot of money, but it's split up amongst a lot of schools, and it couldn't even tell us what we can do with the habit of that.
Wow. So my second question is, most of the schools have been around a long time. Wouldn't they qualify to be a historical landmark where I know the state of Florida has funding set aside to help with the infrastructures of those historic buildings? Would that be an avenue? That's okay. The historical landmarks. Some of the public schools here have been around a long time. You mentioned back in 1968. That was before my time. I'm a generation Z, but but I've been doing research on historical landmarks, and I noticed the state of Florida have dollars to help restore infrastructure to historic buildings. Wouldn't some of those schools that really need those repairs qualify for that?
That's a great question. And I've read school system that they have applied for historical landmark funding for some of our schools because, Andrew Jackson, Irving Smith, and more have most schools, I think about most better that still learn Spanish American more. So that's a good question. I don't want to get into that. I apologize. You just raised a very good point, and that's the point that I will ask Superintendent about Officer Mark and go on that.
All right, now we're wrapping down to our last 5 minutes, but I want to point something out, Mr. Carlucci, is that you did something that the people are saying, which is listen.
Yes.
You listened. And then not only that, from polling numbers, from UNF, from public opinion, from the news networks, the people want this on the ballot. The people want to vote. They want their voice to be heard. And is there any way that we can educate the people of Jacksonville? Because from my understanding, by you being an at-large city council person, the entire city of Jacksonville is your constituent. Is that correct? And so how can we reach out to our council members to let them know that this is something that we're serious about? If they're not going to look at the UNF polls, they're not going to look at the polling from news coverage or the poll of public opinion pertaining to other social organizations pertaining to the NAACP.
sales assessment. But they have to do a facility commission index before conducting. And we need to know what the age of the facility being used is. And the problem is, I don't think many of the our schools have taken their plans for that. But yet, we say that the school board doesn't have a plan, and I don't think it's clear. School board does have a plan. I have researched that. I've gone to town meetings. They say there's no other town meetings. There's been 22 town meetings. I've been to at least 4. Even at the meeting, which is getting the least of the money, their school board member is fully engaged in the support system. And he is a real state
Now, Councilman, we're down to our last 40 seconds, so I do apologize for cutting you off, but the people know how to find you through coj.citycouncil in their Google search engine. Now, COJ City Council, okay? And for Facility Condition Index, Duval County Public Schools are the oldest public schools in the state of Florida. This is Nahshon Nix, your guest host. On the line is Councilmember at Large Group 4, Matt Carlucci. And in the house, my guest.
Therese Gamble, CRPC Consulting.
And how do they find you?
On Facebook, CRPC Consulting, or you can contact me at 904-235-6672.
And once again, please support the Florida Star newspaper. This is Nahshon Nix, your guest host for Impact Radio show on tonight. Be blessed, be safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
You have been listening to the radio broadcast.
That was good. That's a good question, though.
Yes, you asked a great question, and actually you answered the question with your question, meaning that. But what I love is the councilman actually heard you.
Yes, and it's gonna make.
He heard you.
Yes.
He heard you. He listened. Listen, for those of you that don't know, that are watching this Facebook Live,
yes.
Tell them who you are.
I'm Therese Gamble of CRPC Consulting, your strategic consulting coach to help entrepreneurs from idea to retirement of your business.
Yes, and now people say, Nix, how do you meet all these people? Being out there, being in the know, and at the same time, I highly recommend that if you have a concept or an idea, Teresa has a great gift of strategic partnership. That's being able to help you partner with people who are already in the industry that you're looking to get into.
Yes.
Not from a competition perspective, but from a completion perspective, because they don't see you as competition. They look at you as completion. Now I have another partner to help me move my products further or move my service further. And I want to give her a plug because I always looked at getting a business plan, but she stretched me to get the business model.
Right.
And like I said, I'm giving you my phone to talk to my audience. This is tell them how to find you.
I can be found on Facebook as the best and the fastest way to get me is CRPC Consultant LLC, or I have a website, crpcconsultantllc.us. But the best time, if you want to meet me face-to-face person, Saturday, I will be at My Message Matters at the Loft at Tapestry Park, talking about funding business initiatives, innovative ones that a lot of entrepreneurs have not heard of yet. And then the next Saturday, Startup Grind is doing an entrepreneur picnic. So the best thing to do is follow me on Facebook, follow me on social media. I share information. I am not stingy. It's enough money for all of us to make money. And just like Nahshon say, I stretched him to have the plan, but you need to have a business model. If you want to know what a business model is, you need to come to the events to learn how. And here is Nahshon. Listen,
I love y'all. I gotta run out. Shout out to everybody that logged in, checked in. Thank you for all the love and support. And Lord willing, I might be able to get a TV show, but it's gonna take some funding to do it. All right. I want to be able to report community issues. I want to be able to report the issues that are important to you, your family, and your community. I want to talk about the topics that you want talked about, and I want to be able to call people out to help us help us move the needle, forward. Because for us to be on the First Coast, we set the standard for the rest of the state. We should not always be coming in last. I want us to do more than be great at football. All right.
That's a good
I want us to be. I want us to be the hub for the South right here in Duval. It's Nahshon Nix right here, Impact Radio Show. WCGL 1360 AM radio. We just wrapped up a great session. I hope you heard it, or please watch this live video on the playback. Love y'all. God bless, and good night.